In sport, there appears to be no better showcase of individual ability than golf. Indeed, the striking and unique aspect of golf is the solitary world inhabited only by a player. Standing at the tee, alone. Struggling from a place you never wanted to be, alone. A short pitch up to a downhill green, alone. A 3.5-footer, alone. But after talk of individual scores and shots, ask a player more questions. The game isn't nearly as solitary as it appears. You'll hear about partners, opponents, and caddies. And keep listening. You'll hear about the one person who taught him the game, the fundamentals, the finer points. The player is never alone. Present always is the person who introduced him to the joy of the game. Such a person was Fred Haskins. The game's rich traditions, legends, characters, and holy places were all known, experienced, and lived by Frederick Haskins. Fate gave Fred Haskins a premier opportunity. He worked to develop that opportunity into ability, reputation, and finally, a legacy. In the 1880s, golf ball and club maker Arthur Haskins opened a shop at 76 Market Street in Hoylake, England. The whole family worked at the business, all 8 children, including Fred, born in 1898. Hoylake, a small seaside community near Liverpool. It's also the home of the Royal Liverpool Lynx, and as young Fred began playing there, the old course at Hoylake, as the Royal Liverpool Lynx are often called, was already hallowed ground. Home of the first British Amateur Championship tournament, Hoylake welcomed and Fred Haskins studied the most influential golfers of the early part of the century. Fred became the youngest golf professional in the British Isles when he took a job with the Royal Belfast Course in Northern Ireland. He fought in World War I and at war's end in 1919 embarked for America. Talented clubmaker, experienced golf pro, and war veteran Fred Haskins was just 21 years old when he arrived in New York to start a new life. Fred went to work for club professional Stuart Maiden at Eastlake Country Club in Atlanta. Maiden was a Scotsman with a national reputation as a player, instructor, and talented maker of custom-built golf clubs. Golfing great Harry Barden had given Fred Haskins the basis of his technique as a player. Stuart Maiden was to provide a role model as a highly successful teaching professional. And Stuart Maiden's star pupil, 19-year-old Bob Jones, became a lasting influence and lifelong friend. Haskins studied with Maiden, further developing his teaching approach and learning 2 critical things that remained important to him for the rest of his life. First, a teaching style that stressed simplicity, demonstration, and few words. And secondly, a devotion to working with young people. In 1922, members of the country club at Columbus, Georgia, hired Fred Haskins to be their professional. And for the rest of his life, Fred was truly their professional. He worked to develop the course and create interest in the game by writing newspaper columns and by bringing the nation's best golfers to Columbus for exhibitions. And he continued to play regularly, breaking the Columbus course record early on with a 71, then later a 67, and then in the 1930s, a 66. Fred Haskins, who got his first set of clubs at age 5, was convinced that good golfers start at a very tender age. Upon arriving at Columbus, though, Fred noticed very few youngsters playing. So one Saturday morning in 1923, Fred held a free clinic for young players. Those Saturday morning classes continued, without a break, for more than 3 decades. And it was through those classes that the circle became complete. Fred Haskins, with a peerless golfing pedigree and close association with the game's greatest players, personalities, and places, began to give it all back, teaching all he knew about golf and indeed life to those young players just beginning their own journeys. Fred Haskins' students and protégés have worked to honor his memory and legacy through a tangible living award for talented golfers at the collegiate level. In 1970, two Columbus, Georgia men, Nelson Ross and Jack Key, began working with a 12-man committee, all former students of Fred Haskins, to develop a charter and initiate an award process. Those efforts resulted in the annual Fred Haskins Outstanding Collegiate Golfer Award, often called the Heisman Trophy of Golf. Since 1971, a nationwide poll of golf writers, coaches, and college golfers has annually selected promising, outstanding college players to be recipients of the award. Players with demonstrated ability, skill, and style. Fred Haskins lived to see the inaugural award go to Ben Crenshaw, who became a three-time winner. Crenshaw, of course, went on to greatness on the PGA Tour with 2 Masters wins, the most recent in 1995. Crenshaw is also among the game's most eloquent spokesmen. The names engraved on the Haskins Award have often become familiar to golf fans worldwide, representing colleges and universities, big and small, all across America. They have lived up to their potential and, in fact, have collectively won more than 150 competitions. Curtis Strange won the award in 1974, going on to 2 consecutive U.S. Open wins in 1988 and 1989. Bob Tway, Haskins winner in 1981, took the PGA Championship in 1986. Both Strange and Tway would become PGA of America Players of the Year. The Haskins list goes on, including Brad Faxon, Phil Mickelson, and Scott Simpson, 1987 U.S. Open winner, as well as Robert Gomez, PGA Tour Rookie of the Year in 1990. And in 1996, the 26th year of the Fred Haskins Award, one singular athlete made a clean sweep of the voting. The accomplishments of Stanford University's Tiger Woods made him the obvious choice. He was a first-team All-American and Pac-10 Golfer of the Year, winner of the 1996 NCAA Championship, his 6th consecutive national championship, and the first golfer in history to win 3 consecutive U.S. Amateur Golf Championships. Tiger Woods, winner of the 1996 Fred Haskins Award, joins the prestigious list of outstanding young golfers. And these outstanding players will tell you that there is always one person, one teacher or mentor who is always with them. Someone who taught them fundamentals. Someone who taught them the finer points. And most of all, someone who taught them the joy of the game. Someone just like Fred Haskins. And the Haskins Award honors that proud memory.